Hello, this is the Jordan coach of the Virginia Vikavolt, and this is the UBLM playoffs. We're doing a team builder for round one against the West Texas Weaviles. They are coached by Snom. I'm really excited to be in the playoffs, though not excited to play against Snom again. This is my team's hardest matchup, I believe. And in the regular season, Snom handed me my first loss in this league, and he also handed me my first 0-2 loss in any league. That was pretty demoralizing, but we brought some surprises. We're going to try to change it up against him this time. And the main things that we're going to have to prepare for is the Urshifu Single Strike, an incredibly strong Pokemon that invalidates Metagross with its super effective dark moves and completely decimates Kyurem Black as well with its fighting moves. Also, some of my other threats are completely unbringable, like Delmai's due to Urshifu's overwhelming power, but we're going to lean on the Tapu Fini to handle Urshifu again. And there's a couple other things we have planned, but also the G-Max Colossal. I've made my opinions about Colossal known, but we're going to have to deal with it this week. We're going to have to find a way around this super slow threat when Bronzong sets the Trick Room and bulldozes it, or the extremely fast threat when Primarina activates Colossal Steam Engine. I do not have the advantage in both speed tiers. I rarely ever have the advantage in one of the speed situations, but if we do get a Tailwind off from the Aerodactyl, and then our Cinderace's speed goes all the way up to 330, and then we have a chance to hit Colossal before it hits us, unless it's timid, which is extremely unlikely that he invests so much into Colossal speed. We are giving up 50 points worth of offense in order to run Special Cinderace, because that is the only way Cinderace has access to a ground move. That's Scorching Sands. And Scorching Sands, maxed with the max special attack investment and the Life Orb, has a chance, like a 50-50-ish, to OHKO Dynamax Colossal. We're going to need to be shifty to set up the Tailwind turn one, perhaps an ally switch, perhaps just a switch into Cinderace with the Tailwind, and then the second turn we have a chance to outspeed Colossal. Cinderace is not going to get that much done. It might get one or two big attacks, but that's what I'm going to need. And even if I don't max Cinderace, the Snarls are useful for the attack drops against Colossal and Primarina. But our other main answer to Colossal is actually the Metagross, which would normally get wrecked by Colossal's fire moves, but I've got a ton of special defense investment here. So I can live a maximized weakness policy procced Cole max move, and then it triggers my weakness policy and I get the OHKO in return. That's the hope, and luckily, even if he does the Cole surprise, I'm just protecting, trigger my weakness policy for me, then I will just be stacking up the special defense boost with the Earthquake, and I'll still be in a decent position. I'm really not excited if he brings Cole Bronzong as the lead, but we're going to have to figure out what to do in that situation. Perhaps a Hammer Arm. I think maybe just a regular Earthquake, which does not kill, but maybe, oof, no. It's going to be tricky against Cole Bronzong. But we do have Tapu Fini, which is one of the only mons that has a pretty good matchup against his team overall. This is our main way of dealing with the Urshifu with these fairy moves. And also, it reliably lives Cole. It's my bulkiest member in the team, and I've maxed out the defensive investment. So it reliably lives Cole on either the special or physical side, can land a Muddy Water, can also land a Custap Berry, which if Cole brings me down to low health, which it will, then I get to go first next turn and get a super fast Haze, negating all of Cole's boosts, buying me a turn, which might not be enough, again, but it's something that can slow down this Colossal. Tapu Fini with Thievul is probably my best lead. We'll have to see what he brings, but Thievul jumps up from 156 all the way to 312 speed on turn one with the Unburden boost, and Tapu Fini triggers the item. So then super fast Snarls will hopefully slow Cole down. Taunt maybe against Trick Room, though Mental Herb will still stop it. And if I can get a super fast substitute up before a Cole move, negating a Cole max move, then that's might be what we have to do. Mainly Thievul is here for the super fast Snarls, break some Focus Ashes for the Urshifu. I feel like we're going to have one, maybe two chances to take out the Urshifu, so some kind of Sash Breaker like a Snarl would help. Rock Slide, a super fast Rock Slide from Aerodactyl will break the Sash and maybe give us some flinches. That would certainly widen our path to victory. But this is the team. Kiram Black is here mostly from the back. It will be reliably living an attack from Max Kiram White because it has an assault vest. It's pretty bulky overall. I expect us to go second, but if we live and we chunk something in return, the Stone Edge will do a lot of damage. Dual Wing Beat might be able to deal with the Urshifu. And then we've got a ton of coverage. It will reliably hand one strong attack before it goes down. And Tapu Fini's coming in the back if it's not part of the lead. I feel like Metagross, Cinderace, or Tapu Fini are my different possible leads depending on what I see. And I'm going to need to make the reads right. That's the only way I think I have a path to victory. Similarly, Snom's a very good player, so he might make the appropriate counter read. We're going to do our very best. Pokemon's got a lot of variants. We certainly have a chance. And I'll be back with the game. Hello, we're back with the battle, except we're not because we messed up the recording and the battle already happened. So this is going to become a recurring thing on this channel. I was trying to get the recording right, succeeding roughly half the time, but it went just as well as we expected. We lost 0-2, which hurts. It certainly hurts. This was as close to an unwinnable matchup as I've ever had in any league, but that's on me. You know, there's no reason to just wallow in the bad beats, but to think about what you could do differently. And I'm gonna play this in the background, but we're mainly gonna talk about what we learned from this league. Actually, no. Let's not put you through both things at once. We'll just run through the game so you see how this is going. The main thing was the Urshifu. Urshifu OHKOs the majority of my roster, no matter how I invest. The only thing that had a chance was Fini, but when he brings Poison Jab, which he did, very smart, then it was OHKO versus the world. Urshifu versus the world. And so yeah, so we're positioning well here. I got Metagross in for free, I got Tailwind up for free, and then I Dynamax Metagross, which I probably should not have done here. When you know that Urshifu is in the game, there is no reason to max Metagross. Unfortunately, there was also no reason to max Cinderace, because it dies in one hit to Urshifu. Or Kiram, if I had brought him. I'm going to have to think to find if there was a possible answer to the Urshifu, except just a perfectly positioned Fini. But yeah, we're using our max, we're getting the Spadef boost because we know that Kiram White is likely in the back. He's shown the 3, and I do not see Tauros as the, on its own max threat in the back, so it's definitely Kiram in the back. So I knew I needed the Spadef boost, and I'm hoping that I could somehow get through these with the combination of Tailwind to go first, though I did realize at this point that this must be a Scarf Urshifu. Unfortunately, I can't get the one shot on Tangrowth, which means I have no choice but to go into Fini. I do know that Urshifu is locked into Wicked Blow, so he had to go do that again. Now, this is me just hoping for Rock Slide flinches or crits or something that fixes it. I did have the Custap Fini here, and I could have used it on a Moonblast, so that was a misplay. Another thing, know your item. If you planned around this, even if you planned around using it for Coal or for a Tailwind combination, definitely something I could have picked up on here was knowing this is when I could have taken out the Urshifu and had a shot. It still would have been max Kiram versus my depleted back bench, but Urshifu is quite the force offensively. This is when we do the last-ditch effort here from the ally switch and the Cinderace, hoping that they just go for the Metagross, and then we have the chance to live something with Cinderace. But no, they just went for the Metagross anyways. I don't know why, but this was a pretty safe endgame from their perspective. Yeah, and the other game goes similarly. Urshifu versus the world. One-shots my Kiram, one-shots the Metagross. Tough situation for sure, but it was not unwinnable. That Custap Fini could have taken out the Urshifu. And most importantly, I didn't talk about Tauros Frostlass in my team builder. I knew that it was a problem. I thought about it, and I knew the only path to victory involved bringing Aerodactyl for the Tailwind, having some speed advantage, and that super fast haze from Tapu Fini might also stop, make one of Tauros's max moves worthless because he doesn't have the maximized attack. Yeah, so we brought the Urshifu game 2. Wasn't much I could do against that except Rock Slide, some protects. Yeah, so I lose right here. Yeah, there's definitely, I had to just hope that he didn't bring the Tauros Frostlass because I could not prepare for Cole adequately while also having some option for the Tauros Frostlass. And so I survive a max while protected just barely, but this speed drop is the key to losing this game here. I have 2 speed, I have 180 here, 2 over max Tauros speed. So I knew that I could reset Tailwind, but not if he max striked. So I max guard here just so I can get rid of the Frostlass. That was a free turn from our perspective. And then knowing the Rage Powder's coming, we do the taunt so that we can hopefully survive for next turn. And then we just barely survive. Trigger our weakness policy, we can kill the Tauros here. And we think that we can get, I think that I can get Tailwind first, and that's the second big misplay, is not remembering the speed drop on Aerodactyl so Tauros could go first. If I had just protected here, I would have lost another turn. I probably lose the game, right? Because Urshifu is still sitting there ready to decimate the whole team. But it would have gotten rid of one of the threats and given me a potential path to victory. Yeah, so we have Tailwind, but it is much too late. Yeah, and Scarf Urshifu outspeeds Kyurem under Tailwind. So he brought Scarf Urshifu last time. I knew it was a concern, but there is not much you can do when he has the speed advantage even when you have your Tailwind. I mean, I could have invested more, but the trick was having that bulk investment so we could survive Colossal, survive a max Kyurem White, and we just did not have the tools to deal with both. But lesson here, there's definitely a lesson. As you're drafting, in Draft League it's tempting to think, I don't need to prepare for any one mon in particular, because only one can have Rillaboom, only one can have Urshifu. However, there are 2 Urshifus because it's got a G-Max and they were given separate properties. I fought Urshifu twice in the regular season, and then I fought them immediately in the playoffs. That is a disproportionate amount of Urshifu Dark. And so that's something that I should have thought about more. Not just, oh, I'm fine except for those 2 matchups. It's even during the draft, do I have an answer to Urshifu? Is Finny enough? In situations where Finny can still get one shot, it can still have problems due to Urshifu's Poison Jab. If I had a flyer like a Galarian Moltres, or any of the max Airstreamers that could get over Urshifu's speed and were on the special side, that would have given me a better matchup. But you look at this team, it was primarily physical. The goal was maximize your physical strength while Tapu Fini sits in there and protects the physical attackers from burns. Pretty good strategy. I mean, it was, I think so anyway. It was pretty easily beating many other teams. But not Urshifu Dark when it has the priority move, it has the huge speed with the Choice Scarf and the very high speed even without. Think about your opponents as they're drafting, counterpick your opponents as they're drafting. If you have a matchup that's a problem in 2 weeks from now, it's time to make a transaction now. There are no doubt some available mons that I could have made, especially when I never brought Delmise because it was invalidated by both Urshifu weeks and it just struggled in some other matchups as well. I brought Mudsdale, but we don't even bother with our stats in this league. Mudsdale had a chance. There was definitely situations where I could have resisted some attacks, the rock attacks from Cole. But this is a situation where I had to start preparing earlier, before the trade deadline, knowing there are 2 teams with Urshifu. One was likely to make the playoffs, and you need an answer for Urshifu. You can't just hope you don't play it against them. So that was a learning experience. There are some other potential options. I don't think they had much of a greater chance at victory, but the Aromatisse Trick Room would have been a problem. Urshifu still might have KO'd it with the Poison Jab, but a combination ally switch and Trick Room might have fixed that. this team was lacking in redirection. It was one of the teams without redirection. The hope was Tailwind could fix that. A huge defensive backbone with Finney and Metagross and others could make it so that I didn't need to redirect attacks. My Mons could take attacks on their own, but not the right combination of attacks was very, very hard to deal with. So hopefully these were lessons, despite the fact that this is not like the Champion League. I'm more hopeful about the SPS and then the new VBLS season that I'm going to be joining. That's definitely my favorite league. So hopefully you stick around for more analysis, more live commentaries in the future, and take care.